What would you do if your teacher found your private group chat and exposed every single message the entire class? What if the person you'd been falling for online wasn't a crush at all, but your best friend's sister, pretending to be someone else? Hi, I'm Gabby, a relationship coach who loves Minecraft and helping people like you when you do not know where to turn next. You are about to hear stories that start normal, spiral fast, and end up in ways I couldn't predict. Grab your snacks. This one's going to mess with your head. Story 1. My teacher found our group chat and read it to the class. You know that sinking feeling when your stomach drops before you even know why? I got that halfway through English, right before my teacher turned the projector on. Our class had this private group chat called Homework is Optional. It was meant to be harmless, a space to moan about lessons, drop memes, and occasionally swap answers at midnight when someone forgot an assignment. Felt safe, private, invisible. Then came a new teacher, young, confident, and clearly trying to be the cool one. He told us, "You can message me on Teams if you've got questions. I'm chill like that." We didn't exactly take him seriously. Instead, our group chat filled with jokes about him, exaggerated stuff like, "But he calls energy drinks liquid focus," or he probably names his biceps. Stupid, harmless comments. Until one night, I took a screenshot of a homework typo to show my friends and accidentally sent it to the school team's chat instead of ours. I deleted it straight away and thought, thank God no one saw that. Spoiler, they did. The next morning, the vibe in the class felt off. Everyone was whispering. The teacher walked in, holding his laptop, wearing a grin that said, "I know something you don't." Probably didn't say it like that, but... So, he said, "Some of you have been talking about me." He plugged in the HDMI cable, and there it was, our entire chat displayed on the whiteboard. My pulse went through the roof. He started scrolling, reading messages out loud. He probably practiced his mirror pep talks. He looks like he drinks protein shakes through a straw. The class was in tears. Some people were filming and wanted to melt into the floor. Then came the moment that made time freeze. A message someone had sent. Pretty sure one of the assistants fancies him. Everyone gasped. Even the assistant turned bright red. The teacher smirked. "Interesting theory," he said. Phones came out again. Someone whispered, "This is going viral." At lunch, it already had. A clip titled, "Teacher Reads Student Chat Live," spreads across TikTok. The comments? Brutal. Imagine getting exposed by your own teacher. Bro really said classroom roast night. The next morning, the head teacher called a meeting. "This is a serious matter," she said. "You've breached digital conduct, but so has your teacher. We got detentions, he got a warning. The school wanted it handled internally. The real damage wasn't the punishment, it was the fallout between friends." The group chat imploded. Some people blamed me for the leak. Others said I'd embarrassed everyone. No one wanted to talk about it, or to me. At school, whispers followed everywhere. People quoted lines from the chat whenever I walked by. The assistant avoided eye contact. Even teachers who weren't involved gave pity looks. A few days later, the teacher kept me back after class. "I might have gone too far," he said, "but hopefully you've learned something about online privacy." I nodded, because I didn't know what else to do. Inside, I wanted to ask him if he'd learned something about professionalism. I deleted every group chat I was in that night. It felt dramatic, but I didn't care. Every notification gave me anxiety. I even stopped using my real name in online games for a while. The whole idea of being watched freaked me out. For weeks, it stayed awkward. But the strangest part, That whole experience made me realise how many people think privacy actually exists online. It doesn't. Not in school, not on Teams, not anywhere. Someone can easily screenshot something. And now I'm torn. Was I in the wrong for what we said? Or did the teacher completely cross the line by turning it into a public show? Oof, that's next level awkward. I mean, you made a mistake, but your teacher went way past the line of what's okay. Reading private messages out loud in a class isn't discipline, it's humiliation. Here's how you handle it like a pro. Acknowledge your part, then move on. A quick, simple apology to anyone mentioned. Didn't mean for that to be public. It was stupid. Banter. Shows maturity. You don't owe endless guilt, just accountability. Recognise his mistakes too. What your teacher did was unprofessional. You can quietly tell your head of year or safeguarding lead that it made you feel humiliated. That's not being dramatic. That's setting a boundary. Adults sometimes need reminding that teachable moments don't come with a side of public shame. Reset your circle. When group chats explode, people blame or hide. Don't chase anyone. Let time cool it off and start new chats with people you genuinely trust. You will rebuild faster through calm consistency than long explanations. Upgrade your digital common sense. Never post something you wouldn't read out loud to yourself. Screenshots are forever, but so is how you handle the fallout. And finally, you are not the villain here, just someone who had to learn the hard way that privacy online is a myth. But you also learnt something more valuable. Confidence grows when you own your mistakes and keep your dignity, even after someone tries to take it from you. Alright, let's jump back into some Minecraft talk. I've just finished the main structure for the villager communal housing, and it's finally time to bring all the villagers under one roof. I've gone ahead and stole every single bed from around the village and placed them all inside this new building. It might sound a little mean, but this is actually the most efficient way to organise villagers. Now I'm crafting a few extra beds, so they'll start breeding and creating baby villagers. Those new villagers will eventually grow up and become our traders once I start placing job site blocks. Before I break any of the existing job blocks out there, though, there's a really important trick you should know. Always make sure to trade with each villager at least once before you remove their workstation. If you destroy their job block before trading, they'll lose their profession entirely and reset their trades. But the moment you've traded with them, even just one time, they become permanently locked into that job. That means you can safely move or destroy their block without losing the trades you've already rolled. It's a small thing, but it makes a huge difference if you are trying to build a proper trading hall or find those overpowered deals. You could even use this mechanic tactically to roll for trades. Let's say you are looking for something specific, like a mending bit from a librarian. You can repeatedly place and break their lectern until you get the trade you want, and then lock it in by trading once. It's one of the most powerful systems in the game for setting up efficient villager economies. If you are new to the series, let me catch you up real quick. Over the past 2 episodes, I discovered this village tucked away against a valley, surrounded it with walls for safety, added torches to stop monster spawns, and built this big communal house where all the villagers will live together. Today officially marks the beginning of the villager trading engine, the heart of the whole setup. Soon, we'll have dozens of villagers working, trading, and generating stacks of emeralds with rare and enchanted gear, including that all-important mending book. And, as I've mentioned before, my personal challenge for this series still stands. No stepping into the nether until I've obtained mending from a librarian. It's kind of a silly goal. That's what will make it fun. It keeps things interesting and gives us something to work towards together. All right then, that's where we'll leave this technical side for now. Let's settle back in and get into some more stories. Before the next story drops, make sure you are subscribed, because if you thought having your group chat exposed was bad, this next story takes trust issues to a whole new level. Story 2. My best friend's sister catfished me for a month. Imagine finding out that the person you've been texting every night, the one who made you laugh, listened to your rants, and even flirted back, wasn't who you thought they were at all. Worse still, they were getting closer than you could ever imagine. It started with the idea from someone who somehow already knew what made me laugh. The jokes, the memes, the timing. Perfect. Her profile said she was from a nearby school. We had mutuals, and she'd even posted selfies that looked totally legit. She wasn't some random. She felt familiar, like we'd been in the same circles without realising. We'd started chatting every night. It went from casual replies to full-blown late-night combos about school stress, family, everything. I remember thinking, finally, someone gets it. My best mate even teased me. You were smiling at your phone again. Who's got you grinning like that? I just said, no one. But inside, it felt like something real was starting. 3 weeks in, things started to feel off. She dodged video calls, always claiming her Wi-Fi was dodgy or her camera was broken. One time, she said her mic didn't work, so we typed instead of talking. It was fine. I didn't think much of it. Little things piled up. When I mentioned something from a private group chat, she replied with, "Oh yeah, I heard about that." I froze. "How would you know?" I asked. She sent a laughing emoji and changed the subject. I brushed it off, told myself I was being paranoid. But then she mentioned a nickname only my best friend ever called me, one I'd never posted online. That night, my brain wouldn't shut off. I screenshotted her profile, reverse searched one of the selfies. It showed up on Pinterest. Some random account, nowhere near my city. My stomach twisted. I decided to test her. I asked, "Hey, do you know my mate?" dropping his name casually. She replied instantly, "No, who's that?" The lie was instant and very obvious. The next day, I went round to my best friend's house. His sister was in the living room, pretending to scroll on her phone. I could tell she was listening. When my mate left the room, her phone buzzed, and I heard the same notification that the girl used. That tiny chime confirmed everything. I stood there, frozen, heart racing. I asked, "Can I see your phone for a sec?" She went pale. "Why?" "Just wanted to check something." She refused, which said enough. I didn't make a scene. I just walked out. My mate called after me, confused. I couldn't even explain. That night, I sent her a message. "I know who you are." Read instantly. No reply. Then the account disappeared. Gone. Didn't tell my mate right away. Didn't want to believe his own sister had been pretending to be someone else, especially just to talk to me. A few days later, he came to school looking wrecked. She told me everything, he said quietly. Apparently, she'd made the fake profile because she wanted to see how guys flirt online. First it was a joke, but then she said how she liked how they treated her and didn't know how to stop. I didn't know whether to feel angry, embarrassed, or both. My mate apologised non-stop. He looked mortified. I didn't blame him, but everything between us felt weird after that. I couldn't go to his house anymore without thinking about it. A week later, I got a new message from her real account. "I'm sorry. I didn't mean to mess with you. I just wanted to feel noticed. I left it unread. Part of me wanted to reply, to tell her how messed up it was, pretending to be someone else, saying all of those things just to see how I'd react. But part of me didn't want to give her any more of my time. My mate and I eventually patched things up, but it did take a while. Even now, sometimes when I get a new message request, I feel a flicker of panic, like who is this really? So what would you do, Gabby? Forgive something like that because it was a joke, or treat it like a full-on betrayal? That one stings. It's the perfect mix of betrayal and confusion. Because it wasn't just about the romance, it was about trust. And trust hits harder when it's close to home. Let's call it what it is. Pretending to be someone else online, especially when emotions get involved, is emotional manipulation. It doesn't matter if the excuse is curiosity, boredom, or a harmless prank. When someone plays with your feelings for entertainment or validation, it crosses a serious line. You handled it in the best way possible, quietly, without blowing up or humiliating anyone. Walking away might not have felt satisfying, but it protected your peace and your dignity. You gave no more attention to someone who wanted control. That's power most people never claim. You don't owe her forgiveness. If she truly understands how wrong it was, she'll live with that discomfort. That's her lesson, not yours. You've already learned yours. If something feels off online, trust your gut feeling immediately. And to your mate, you can still have a friendship, but boundaries matter. You don't have to pretend everything's fine. It's okay that it changed things. Sometimes you forgive people, not to let them back in, but to let yourself move forward without carrying the weight. The real takeaway here, trust doesn't come from long messages or perfect jokes. It comes from consistency and honesty. The next time someone makes you feel seen, make sure they are seeing you for real, not through a lie. All right, let's take a breather. That last one was tough. This next story shifts gears completely, but trust me, it's no less chaotic. Because what starts as a harmless tech prank in school turns into one of the most expensive mistakes a group of students ever made. Story 3. We hacked the school Wi-Fi and got the whole class suspended. Our school Wi-Fi was infamous, slower than dial-up and more protected than a government database. Half the time, it took longer to load a web page than to finish an essay. Most people just complained about it. We decided to fix it. That's the funny part. It started as good intentions. We weren't trying to cause chaos. We just wanted to stream music without buffering every 3 seconds. One idea, one code, and a little curiosity later, we became the most hated legends in school history. It began during ICT, when someone said, "You know there's a password hidden in the router name, right?" It sounded like a myth, one of those things older students say to mess with year 7s. But then, someone showed us a YouTube tutorial on school network loopholes. We laughed at first. Then we started testing. A few logins later, someone accidentally guessed part of the admin password, a mix of the school motto and year founded. It actually worked. Suddenly, we were inside the system. We didn't do anything crazy at first. We just renamed the network to Big Band to Wi-Fi. Then we boosted the bandwidth just enough to make Netflix work on the computers. We thought we were geniuses. Then someone had to go too far. A few people started changing the Wi-Fi names every period. Maths sucks _24, free Roblox now, even head teacher loves Minions. By lunchtime, the entire school was trying to connect just to see the new names. IT technician nearly had a meltdown. We thought we'd get away with it until someone discovered that one of the changes had wiped teacher access to the internal system. No registers, no lesson files, no smart boards. Every classroom went offline in seconds. That's when the announcement hit. That all students from Year 10, ICT, please report to the head teacher's office immediately. The corridor went silent. Everyone turned to stare at us. We were marched into the office like we'd committed cybercrime. The head teacher sat there, arms crossed, next to the IT tech, who looked like he hadn't blinked in 10 minutes. He said, "Do you realise you've shut down the entire school?" We tried to explain it was an accident. One of us mumbled something about testing system limits. Another said we were just curious. That didn't help. The head teacher pulled up the access logs. Our usernames were all there. The evidence was brutal. He said, "You've cost us a full day's lessons and a professional call-out to reset the servers." Then came the sentence, "You are all suspended. 3 days, effective immediately." It was like being hit with a cold bucket of water. The next morning, the story spread faster than the Wi-Fi ever did. Memes appeared overnight. Wi-Fi warriors, the 4 ping lords. Someone even edited our faces onto the Ocean's 11 poster. Half the school thought it was hilarious. The teachers definitely didn't. At home, my parents were furious. "You could have been expelled," my mum said. "What if this goes on your record?" My dad just shook his head and muttered, "At least they're ambitious." By the time we went back, things had changed. We weren't heroes anymore, just the reason everyone had to use paper worksheets for a week. The IT department introduced new passwords, firewalls, and user tracking, which basically forced a school-wide security update. Looking back, it's funny and awful at the same time. We didn't hack the Wi-Fi to be rebels. We genuinely thought we were being clever. But clever and smart are 2 very different things. Do you think we deserved full suspensions? Or should the school have gone easier since it started as a harmless mistake? This one's classic teenage chaos. Equal parts curiosity, bad timing, and the overconfidence that makes every brilliant idea sound bulletproof until it explodes. We didn't mean to crash the system. But intent doesn't erase impact. The school reacted out of panic, and maybe embarrassment too. No one likes to admit they got outsmarted by students armed with YouTube tutorials. What you did wasn't evil, it was impulsive. You wanted to fix something broken, to prove you could make it better. That's not a bad instinct, it just needed direction. The real lesson here isn't don't hack, it's don't play with systems you don't understand. Because once it's bigger than you, it's no longer your choice how it ends. You've already paid the consequence, but there's a smart move to make afterwards. If you ever want to redeem that reputation, use what you learned in a way that's helpful. You clearly have problem-solving brains. Channel that into coding clubs, digital safety, or fixing tech the right way. Nothing flicks a reputation faster than turning the thing that you got into trouble for into something useful. And for the record, suspension doesn't define you. Alright, let's get back into some Minecraft talk. As you can see, we've got 2 new adorable additions to our villager family. Our very first baby villagers. It's always a great sign that the system's working. Once they grow up a little, they'll each be assigned new professions, probably smithing jobs, since this village is already pretty strong in that department. I've been hard at work expanding the setup by crafting a bunch of new beds and slowly ramping up farming operations to keep the villager trading engine running smoothly. Villagers will only breed if they've got enough food and empty beds available, so I've been feeding them with whatever I can spare. Mostly bread, carrots, and whatever scraps I manage to harvest between these builds. It's not glamorous, but hey, it's working. 2 baby villagers are proof of that. The more unclaimed beds I can fit in this building, the faster the village grows. I'm already thinking ahead to expansion plans. This building was getting a little cramped, so I might end up adding a second story, or better yet, maybe a full-blown expansion. Imagine one massive villager tower with a different floor for each profession. Librarians on one level, armourers and toolsmiths on another, maybe farmers on the ground. It would look ridiculous, but it would also make organisation a lot easier. And honestly, a giant tower full of villagers running around sounds hilarious. But so far, everything's looking good. The population's growing, the trades are starting to form, and the whole system is finally coming together. Alright, that's enough Minecraft talk for now. Let's relax for a bit and jump back into some more stories. Mini challenge, subscribe before I finish the sentence, and I'll count that as emotional support, what you are about to hear next. This next one is about a prank that went too far and left everyone wondering where the line between views and actual real life is. Story 4. My mate pretended to go missing for views. It started like every other weekend. Snacks, games, and a plan to film a funny challenge for our group channel. Nothing serious, just harmless content we thought might make a few laughs online. We'd been posting silly clips for months. Dares, pranks, try not to laugh stuff. But the numbers were flat. My mate kept saying, "We need something bigger. Something people will actually click." I laughed it off. I thought he was joking when he said, "What if I just disappear for a day?" At first, I didn't take it seriously. He'd always been the dramatic, the guy who faked fainting in PE for a laugh. Later that night, he texted me, "I'm doing it tomorrow. Don't tell anyone. Just act normal." I sent a laughing emoji. No reply. Next morning, he didn't show up for school. By lunch, people noticed. By home time, teachers were asking where he was. His mum came into reception, panicked, saying he hadn't come home. My stomach dropped. I messaged him. No answer. I checked his socials. Nothing new. Then I noticed his last post from the night before. Sometimes you have to disappear to be seen. That's when the fear hit for real. By the evening, the police were involved. Posters, group chats, and missing alerts spreading fast. Everyone from our school was sharing it. People were crying in assembly the next day. I wanted to say something, but what could I say? Don't worry, you might just be doing it for content. It didn't sound real or funny anymore. 2 days later, I got a message. It just said it worked. Then a link, a YouTube uploaded. I went missing for 48 hours. Social experiment. My hands shook as I clicked it. There he was, alive, smiling, narrating how he faked his disappearance to show how people react when someone vanishes. He filmed himself hiding out in an old storage unit, eating instant noodles, scrolling through messages about him. He'd called it social commentary. The video blew up. Thousands of views in hours. People called it genius and dark humour done right. For those 2 days, his family thought he was dead. Teachers cried. His mum collapsed in the office when she heard from the police. When he came back to school, everyone stared. Some called him a legend. Others refused to talk to him. His mum grounded him for months. I didn't know what to say to him. Part of me was relieved he was okay. The other part was furious. He'd watched us all panic and still thought it was worth it. He texted me later. "You get it though, right? It's just content." I replied, "No, it's not." He didn't answer. The video got taken down eventually, probably reported too many times, but it didn't matter. The screenshots were everywhere. Every time someone mentioned it, the same question came up. How could he watch everyone freak out and still call it a social experiment. Even now, people still talk about it like an urban legend. Remember that guy who faked his own disappearance? I still remember his mum's face when she found out it was fake. That's the image I can't forget. But what do you think? Is this forgivable? Or is there no excuse once you've made people believe that you are gone? This one hits different. It's the kind of story that makes you feel angry and sad at the same time. Angry because it was selfish, and sad because it came from a place of wanting to be seen. There's a reason people say the internet feeds attention, that starves empathy. Your mate didn't fake his disappearance because he hated anyone. He did it because he thought shocks equals success. But what he forgot is that real people don't stop being real just because the camera's off. What he did crossed the line. That trust doesn't bounce back easily. You can understand why someone craves validation without excusing how they go about it. Forgiveness isn't about pretending it didn't hurt. It's about deciding how much space you'll still let the person take up in your life. If you ever talk to him again, don't go in angry. Go in honest. Tell him exactly what those 2 days felt like. Tell him that fear isn't engagement and heartbreak isn't content. Some people need to hear the human cost of their experiment before they ever understand it. You did nothing wrong, but you learned something priceless. That being seen online means nothing if the people who love you stop recognizing who you are offline. All right, let's get back into some Minecraft talk. Now that the villager communal housing is filling up nicely, it's time to shift gears and start working on the next phase, resource farms. To really get the villager trading system rolling, I'm going to need a steady supply of materials. For librarians in particular, this means 2 key ingredients, leather and paper. So the first step is setting up a cow farm for the leather and a sugarcane farm for all the paper we'll need to craft books. Once those are up and running, I'll be able to start producing bookshelves, lecterns, and eventually roll for these perfect trades. While I'm at it, I'll also get a few pumpkin and melon farms going. Those crops might not sound exciting, but they are actually great for trading with farmer villagers. A good pumpkin or melon trade setup can generate emeralds really quickly once the cycle gets going. And emeralds are the foundation for building a strong economy here in the village. So that's the plan for the next episode, building up the infrastructure that will power our trading system. Once the farms are running smoothly, the villagers will have everything they need and I'll have all the materials to keep the trades flowing. Then I'll start expanding the base and really pushing the trading engine into full motion. We'll be earning emeralds, upgrading gear, and before long, finally getting our hands on that elusive mending book. Full steam ahead. Well, it's the next day. The villager trading hub is coming along nicely. We've got all our beds set up for now, and the villager population is steadily increasing. I think this is a good point to wrap up the video, since I like to keep each episode around the 30-minute mark. If you'd prefer longer episodes, let me know and I can see what I can do. Most importantly, if you've enjoyed today's video, I'd be so grateful if you clicked that subscribe button. It really helps the channel grow, and I can't thank you enough for your support. Once again, I'm Gabby, and it's been an absolute pleasure spending this time with you today. I'll see you in the next video.